Ahsoka, episode 1 and 2. What did we learn? More questions than answers, but also Dave Filoni. Is he truly the apprentice to George Lucas that we all need? All these questions and more after the intro. Alright, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants, where we cover all things geek, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and more. This time, Ahsoka episode 1 and 2 with the man, the myth, the Marvel, the guy who has all the answers for Marvel, but all of the questions pertaining to Star Wars, Will Barker. Alright, Will, as you are the newer Star Wars fan, questions, comments, let me know.
All right. This was an interesting one to see because let's be honest, I love Rosario Dawson, and being able to actually see this unique character that wasn't one of the, I guess, mainline characters in my head come to life, I thought was pretty cool. Because I'm used to Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, like that's just kind of where it was. I'm new to this, so my question is more or less like, where did she really come from? Like, what is her whole deal? Like, I know she was Anakin's apprentice. Like, how did she become Anakin's apprentice? How did she, decide to leave the Jedi Order and go and do her own thing? She's got white lightsabers. She's got two of them. Like, what's going on? You tell me some stuff about her.
All right, let's see. Long story short, to keep things here and interesting for the viewers while we're still talking about her show. She was blamed for a conspiracy within the Jedi Order that was to basically kill a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of powerful senators. She wasn't the one who did it. It was Barriss Offee, I believe, instead of her. She got blamed for it. Anakin was the only one that believed she was innocent. Eventually, Anakin does find out that she was wrongfully blamed. The Order's like, oh, okay, we're sorry. You can come back in the Order. And she's like, no one believed me. No one thought I was innocent. She left, happened to be right before Order 66 was about to happen. So could not have timed that any better. But at the same time, her leaving kind of cast Anakin and his view of the Jedi astray on top of everything that was going on with Padme and Palpatine. So the dude was conflicted going into that, and her lightsabers are supposed to be white because she's supposed to be symbolic of a gray Jedi. The Sith are on one side evil, the Jedi are on one side good. Gray is supposed to be the duality of both, but at the same time, I always tend to believe that a gray Jedi can never truly exist, which the fandom has argued about to the umpteenth degree. So I'm not trying to start that fight. So I say she's more on the good side of everything, and she was a pivotal player in the Clone Wars series, and her parts with Rebels and Darth Vader were just all chef's kiss, all but done by the man, the myth, and everything that is Dave Filoni, who has, I believe, done a masterful job with these first two episodes and giving us something while also giving us basically next to nothing. Any further questions?
As far as that goes, no. Like, so what we get is the show starts off with her looking for a map. All right. So when is this taking place exactly?
This is taking place before we get to Kylo Ren and all of their ilk. This is still happening after Return of the Jedi, but before we get to like the Kylo Ren, Rey dumpster fire that was the newer Disney Star Wars stuff. The Empire has in fact fallen, but the remnants are picking up the pieces and slowly rebuilding themselves as the First Order. And they're looking for this map because Grand Admiral Thrawn is a brilliant tactician from the Chiss army, or Kiss. It's the pronunciation varies at times, but he was the right hand of Palpatine for a long time, aside from Vader, and his intelligence is unparalleled. He is a great tactician, and he was literally within moments of bringing down the entirety of the Rebel army by himself. No Force users, no bonuses, no nothing, just this dude's raw intellect. So the fact that bad guys are looking for him would signal a whole new start of everything going on. And last he was seen, he was on a starship with Ezra and some space whales, which is just as crazy as it sounds. It's entirely what happened while they're being transported they just hit the hyperdrive into God knows where, which apparently was the pathway to Peridia, which is what they're trying to open up through the Eye of Sion, which when you say it like that, it always sounds like the Eye of Sauron, which, for being Lord of the Rings, but it is what it is. I think it was a very good start episode. We got a lot of key pieces there. Having Bruce Lee's granddaughter back in this show is absolutely amazing. She is the Dathomirian witch, and if you guys don't know, Dathomir is a very, very prominent planet in Star Wars. It's where like Darth Maul came from. It's where Mother Talzin came from. It's where Savage came from. Like, it's a huge planet, and their abilities with the Force are nigh unparalleled. And at a certain point, Palpatine even had to fight Mother Talzin, and it was more or less a draw. And you saw Palpatine in the prequels. Dude was broken. So for someone to go toe to toe with him in Force powers and walk away like it's completely fine, yeah, the Dathomirians are no joke. You don't want to mess with them. The males are the Zabrak, and well, they're Darth Maul. So have fun with that. They're trained warriors that serve the women of their planet, and it is crazy to go there.
All right. So we got, Ahsoka was looking for the map and she's all set up. Once she has a hold of it, she's got to get it deciphered. So what about Sabine? Like, what's her deal? Because she seems pretty pissed at Ahsoka, I guess, and that's more or less for leaving her when she left, and she was, I guess, in the middle of Padawan training. So um, that's why she was kind of salty with her. But was there anything else going on? Because it seemed like it was a little bit more than that. I wasn't sure.
It is literally just the training in of itself. The training has never been seen on screen anywhere, so we have very little to go off of what made things salty. But Ahsoka was everything the rebel that Anakin was, but she also had some of the wisdom of Obi-Wan. So if you can imagine a rebellious teacher trying to train a rebellious student, who in turn wants to train a Mandalorian rebellious student, yeah, things were kind of doomed from the start, but at the same time, you think that within a rugged and structured setup like the Jedi Order, they would have been able to make things work. But at the same time, having someone who's never completed the Jedi training, aka Ahsoka, trying to teach someone how to go through it themselves, kind of seemed like a recipe for disaster in of itself. Ahsoka is strong in her very, very own right, but as far as formal training goes, she's got the same power set as Luke does, but she doesn't have the chosen one, Deus Ex Machina, going for her.
Okay.
So it's a fractured relationship, and I'm sure Ahsoka left due to her own personal reasons, which will come out. I'm sure she has some level of commitment issues with the Order and herself, where she aligns with her views of the Force and the Jedi Order and everything that goes into that. And I'm sure Sabine probably poking and prodding at a younger age would have led to some level of issues, because we all got like personal things going on. It'd be like people poking into your past, and they accidentally keep poking directly into the one place where it hurts the most for Ahsoka because of everything that happened, with Order 66, Anakin, and how the Order fell, because she truly loved Anakin. I truly believe if there was anyone that was going to save him, it wasn't Padme, it wasn't Obi-Wan, it would have been either Ahsoka or Qui-Gon. And
Okay.
Qui-Gon was long since dead, and Ahsoka was just gone.
All right. Well, it looks like we got a look at Ezra on via the VidCom thing. I don't know what you call those things. The little hollow cube thing.
Holocron.
Yeah. So we got to look at him, and he looked very similar to his counterpart from the Rebel show that I looked up. So that was nice. But him and Sabine, their relationship, what's going on with that?
Very, very good friends. There was nothing romantic going on with either one of them. They were just very, very close. If they have anything romantic happen now, it'd be absolutely fine, because you can grow up with someone when you're little and then at a certain point establish romantic feelings when you're both adults. But at the same time, there's been nothing to lead us to believe that these two were going to be together in my mind. Just Ezra's always had a very, very soft spot for her, and she's always had a soft spot for him. They're both kind of rebellious. They're kind of jokey. They both grew up in a struggle, and they both just wanted the world to be a better place, and how they went about it was the only thing that could have been different, but they used their differences to make them stronger together. And he made the ultimate sacrifice to save everyone from Thrawn, and then there was no closure for anything that had been going on or anything established in the Order. So there's a lot of loose ends that weren't tied up, so I can get where she's kind of conflicted and sentimental going to once again have to go to like all these ceremonies and these pompous things where it's like we're bringing up the memory of him, but no one has spent any minute of time trying to look for him, to find him, to establish whether he's dead, whether he's alive. Is just a giant. It's like in the military where you have those that just go MIA in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It He's a hero, but we don't know where he's at. So it's tough for her to try and think of her friends who just didn't make it back.
All right. So with everything that has transpired thus far within this 2 episode premiere, how do you like the way it's turning out so far? Like, do you like where it's going? You think you're getting some closure on some items that have happened in the past, or you think that there's going to be some closure coming for certain things, i.e., like the Padawan comment kind of set up for something?
I think there's going to be some sort of closure. I think Filoni jumped the gun on Ahsoka calling her apprentice in episode 2. I don't think there was enough emotional buildup for that to have the impact and resonance it should have with the audience to where she has truly earned this, because literally all she did was put on her Mandalorian armor and give herself a haircut. That is great symbolism and it's a great step forward for their relationship. But as far as actually doing anything, it's it falls very flat. The show itself, they gave us a lot of pieces to work with and a lot of theories that we can craft out for an entire week to talk about. But as far as like concrete material, all we got was there's a map, the Empire still exists, there's more force sensitive people out there in this galaxy than we're fully aware of. That's all that's been given. I'm happy with that thus far. I like the elements of Rebels that have been continued in this. But at the same time, for those of us, aka people like you, who haven't seen all the entirety of Rebels, you're going to have more questions than you're going to have answers. And that's kind of unfortunate. It's like you're diving into the deep end of some Star Wars lore where I kind of wish he had tiptoed his way in, but Filoni, for all the greatness that he's been to Star Wars and making the Clone Wars and making Rebels and helping out with the foundations of the Mandalorian and the lore established there, he's got some of George Lucas's faults where he'll just throw you in the deep end and hope you know how to swim. I
Kind of
like
like,
what I saw, but at the same time, I'm a diehard. I think if it's a 7 out of 10 just because there's a lot of loose pieces that need to be addressed for the new viewers.
okay. Yeah, I mean, just from my perspective coming in and not watching Rebels, stuff like that, it looks good, it looks fun, stuff like that. But again, it's going to be a lot of questions. So, I mean, I'm definitely going back to watch Rebels and watch through it and kind of piece some stuff together as I watch through the season. So, I'll get some questions answered by you, and I'll get some answered by the show. So that'll definitely be fun. But it seems like if you didn't watch Rebels and stuff like that, then you're definitely going to not have you're not going to have as big of an understanding as it seems like Filoni would want you to have going into this. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it, but it just hey, there's some homework to be done from my end, so I'll have fun with it. But you said you got some theories and stuff possibly popping up. I'm sure you'll talk about them later on down the line, but give me something that sticks out to you right now.
The thing that sticks out to me thus far was the symbolism within the episode 1. The 3 statues, they are very, very prominent figures within the Clone Wars. There was what most would have considered a throwaway episode because it didn't actually impact the story in a large aspect of it. But there's a father, a daughter, and a son. The son symbolizes the Sith, the daughter symbolizes the Jedi, the father represents the balance in all things, that he's in between both, and they're constantly fighting to assert dominance. And Ahsoka ends up on this planet along with Obi-Wan and along with Anakin. And Anakin, of course, goes fully evil, being controlled by the son, and he, in turn, throughout the episode, he ends up killing the son, therefore throwing all of the entire order out of the balance, out of whack, because he ends up also going after the father. So everything ends up completely anarchistic, and the symbolism that these statues were destroyed very much shows that the force is completely out of balance by this point in time, because we have Luke, God knows where. Ahsoka is a gray Jedi at best. Ezra's gone, and now you have these two force sensitive. Baylan Skoll has been a confirmed Jedi Knight from Anakin's era, so he probably knows him personally, or he grew up with Ahsoka personally. So he's gonna have some mixed feelings about this, and he may even know that Anakin is in fact Darth Vader at this point in time. Well, past this point in time because he's already dead. But at the same time, now you have this new apprentice on the come up. We don't know when or where she became force sensitive or even what her age range is. So there's a lot of symbolism to go with this other continuance of now we have Sabine, who has been admitted to being like the least force sensitive person out there so coldly by that droid, to now have to get on par with this other apprentice, because while Ahsoka is strong, we saw that she had challenges with what appeared to be that really absolutely, I think, epic looking Inquisitor type figure, which could have just been a straight HK droid, which is a shout out to HK 47 from Knights of the Old Republic. But at the same time, we don't know. I think it was a great design. Ahsoka still got the business handed to her by that droid. There's a lot of theories to go off of that, and there's a lot of deep meaning within the little things, which is something that Filoni definitely adopted from Lucas. Everything has deep meaning to every extent within everything he tries to do.
Right. That's true. I mean, you've answered most of my questions. It's more or less just kind of, I'm excited to see how they're going to kick this off. I'm assuming they're going to head out that way towards that drive, wherever that drive was taken, and get some confrontation going on. But I'm not sure how they're going to play out the series. I'm not sure how much of it that they finished prior to Ray Stevenson's death. So,
to my knowledge, everything was done.
Everything was complete except for him. So, really excited to see more of his character, because I like the way how he kind of came in very confident and just ready to handle business. So he's an interesting character. So I definitely want to. Hopefully, he's all throughout the season. We see more of him, like really kind of handling business. But I'm just excited to see what else is going to happen and see what other characters are going to pop up. I'm more excited to see what you get excited about with other characters popping up, because I heard what some other characters popped up already in other right?
Hera's already popped up. We already saw Gara Zeb pop up in The Mandalorian. He was the big purple guy in The Mandalorian at the bar hanging out with Filoni, because that was one of his creations. I was super excited to see Chopper, that little droid that was hanging out with Hera, who was doing all the hand gestures and being very animated. He's got the third highest kill count in all of Star Wars. Him, R2, and Anakin are the top three, and some would even debate that Chopper is the most bloodthirsty character in all of Star Wars. And there's been many theories and speculations pertaining to that. So Chopper is going to be someone that you will love as someone who's an ambassador for chaos.
Oh, so yes,
I was losing my mind over just hearing not only that Bruce Lee's granddaughter turned out to be a Dathomirian character. I think that's a great thing, and then Chopper being brought back for this, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough good things about him. I hope he gets a lot of screen time, but at the same time, he's a droid, so the odds of him commanding the screen, not as high as I want them.
They just got to give him a moment. I just need that one moment with him. Sometime in the season, just give me that one moment where he just kind of does his thing.
Right. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see this. Overall, I think it was a 7 out of 10 open. I think this was very satisfactory. I got to give huge kudos, though, to Disney, changing the time. They finally realized people aren't always doing the midnight binge. We always do. And if you are subscribed to the channel, we're here giving up our sleep schedule. And if for those of you on the East Coast looking at you, Will, that's 3 a.m. So the fact that this is now 9 p.m. your time, 6 p.m. my time, it makes it easier for each and every viewer to enjoy all things Marvel and all things from a galaxy far, far away. I don't really have much else to add. Do you have anything else to add for this?
Good.
We'll see you next week. And probably me throughout this week as I speculate more theories pertaining to Ahsoka. See you in the next one.